Hello students, I'm back trying to help you with your residential project and going back to the cabinets. I already completed two videos, part one, part two, for adding details to your section view, and I hope you have the chance to look at them. If not, at least you got the notifications. And again, I broke them down into two parts just to make the videos a little bit shorter, and it takes so long to upload. If you ever uploaded videos in YouTube, which is the best way to actually post videos, link them to Blackboard. So anyways, without further ado, let's get started with our cabinets. Cabinets are basically modeled, therefore they will be actually in your architectural tab under the component. So when you say place a component, and here it is, and just like anything else, a lot of stuff like the dryers and the openings and fixtures and countertops and so forth, we need actually to go and find the cabinets. In addition to this, if you recall, with YouTube, with the Blackboard, under your project one folder here under the lessons, as we showed you, and the project one, I added a lot of items for the libraries, and one of them, by the way, that maybe you have not noticed, is the prefabricated fireplace that goes into the great room. And here is basically the Merlat, which is a brand name. It's a known cabinet maker, Merlat cabinets. This is the base cabinets, and these are the different wall cabinets. These are different styles and whatnot. And of course, you can always, some of them, they have actually a few sizes. Some of them you can modify the sizes and so forth. Feel free to use them or download your own, or it doesn't matter. It basically, what matters is that we are going to sort of like make this layout, this kitchen layout, using these cabinets, and try to put them in Revit. And again, the cabinet designation, it is not 100% universal, but it's very common. So the first letter would be, like a B, like a base cabinet, or a W, like a wall cabinet. And then the second number would be, or the two numbers will be the width of it. So it goes from like here to here. That's 21, B21. This is actually 24. D stands for a drawer, but some cabinet makers, they don't make it that way. So what does this mean here? B42D. It's a base cabinet, and it's a 42 inches from here to here, and it has drawers. Base cabinets, the standard between manufacturers, are 24 inches deep from here to the wall, to the drywall, and they are 34.5 inches high, plus 1.5 countertops. That will give you 36 inches standard height of kitchen counters. If you go back to drafting one, all of you, took drafting one, and it's a prerequisite for this class. We lectured on this when we did the house in, soft plan. And there was a handout about the standard sizes for cabinets, for base cabinets, wall cabinets, vanities, and so forth. So back to the design here. The best way to start in any cabinet layout is to start from the corner. And that would actually give you a quick layout and a nice layout. So here, I'm going to select my corner. I'm going to use my space bar to rotate it. You need to be against the wall. So here we have two walls. So just come close in here and click on it. And let me just cancel here twice. And you can see here that this cabinet actually now attached to the wall. They do attach to the drywall, not to the framing. And that's basically because it is put in after the fact that we drywall. So now this one is a diagonal here. When you compare it to what we have basically just a right corner. If I keep it, I tried to find a standard one. I could not. If you've noticed in my Blackboard in here, I added these are called Lazy Susan corner cabinets. These are a couple of brand names, but they just did not look the same as ours. And, they had some things that I did not like. But again, if you like to use them, by all means, these are all modeled, objects, BIM objects for Revit. I'm just going to stick with what we have here, part of our standard here. And again, that's fine having it that way versus, a 90 degrees corner. Now, when we look at our next one in here, And then our next one is a base cabinet that is 36 inches. So I am going to go back to my component and say, hey, yep, okay, so this is a corner, so I'm going to go down and say, here's my 36-inch corners. Before I put it in, let me double check on to the sizes of it. And here it says that the depth is 2 feet, the height is 2 foot 10 and a half, which is perfect. That's 34 and a half. And basically everything else is fine. So yes, I'm going to be using this here, and here it is. Now the next one is a dishwasher. A dishwasher takes basically a 24 inches standard space, back again to the drafting one. So the easiest method that I use is just basically put in a cabinet there and attach the one next to it, to its right, to its left, and then later on come and remove it, and put, actually dishwasher. So here I'm going to change my to 24 inches instead of the 42. And in here, I don't really have a 24 inches, so I'm going to change it, edit type, and I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to make it 24 inches. And remember, this is only a name, so in here I need to make it, instead of the 2 foot 6, just make it 2 feet. And now actually I have a 24 inches cabinet. And then the last one to my right in here is a 21 base. So naturally I don't have a 21 in here. So I am going to create also another one. So I'm going to say edit type, duplicate, and I am going to make a 21 inches cabinet. And of course in here I am going to make it 21 inches, which is 1 foot 9, and place the cabinet in here. So that finishes actually this side in here. And on this side, I have a range. A range is 30 inches. And then I have a 33 inches cabinet in here. That's what I'm reading from. And then I have a 36 for the refrigerator. Again, the same as the others. I will actually leave and put a cabinet here and then remove it later on, and basically here. So I have 30, 33, and 36 base cabinets. So I go to, again, to component, and I will choose on my 30 inches cabinet. Here it is. And use my, rotate it here. Again, the placement needs to be where the wall is. That's the back of the cabinet. So 30, and then I'm going to go to 33 inches. I'm reading from the blueprints here, just like I showed you. And then the last one is 36, or you can leave it actually the way it is, without anything, since it is actually between the two walls. So if you leave it, that's fine too. Now, let's do our wall cabinets the same way. And component, place component, and I will find my wall cabinet, which is right below it here, base, and let's see here. It's probably right at the bottom there. Upper cabinets, double doors or walls and whatnot, and here's the corner unit, 12 inches depth, and that basically take care of this side in here. So it is 24, 2 feet from here to here, and 2 feet from here to here. And then I have a 12 incher, just a small narrow one. So that's, you don't have one, so I am going to here, 12 incher. It didn't really click on it correctly here, so and unfortunately, before I start doing something else, I need to basically align them, and I like the alignment tool the best here. and it looks like maybe there is some kind of like a little bit of a difference in here, so that's okay because of the angle. So here I am going to look at the sizes. The depth is 1 feet, 30 inches, 2'6". That's all basically matches. And then the next one to it is a 30, and it is actually a little bit shorter, but let's not worry about it right now. It is above the range. It's a double door. So it is a 24-inch, and it's right here. My computer is acting up. Too many people using internet in here, so here it is. And again, I'm going to cancel, and the reason I'm doing this is just because if I don't do it right now, it will actually throw off everything around here. Actually, I just chose the wrong size in here, so I'm going to undo and go back again. I was thinking 24 inches the height, and actually I needed the 30 inches. See, here it says 24 inches. It needs to be 30 inches, which is the range. The range width in here, from here to here, is the 30 inches. So and here it is. And these two are 33 inches, so I'm going to go back again. 33 inches component. Here's the 33 inch. If you have noticed that you have to have, and let me actually put the other one in and then change and modify it since it's only last one. And in here I'm going to this one in here, and I did that first. I should have done that one here. So that's basically what we have. These are the wall cabinets and basically the base cabinet, and this one of course will take out and put a range, and this one will take out and put a dishwasher. And let me switch to my 3D, and I know my 3D is complete here with the roof, so I am going to, for the time being, just to show you here, I'm going to take it out. Displace it here, and so we can look at what we have done, what we have drawn. So here is basically what we have drawn. Now this cabinet here, it's easier to modify from here, is I'm going to actually modify it to make it, the height is only 2 feet. So it's only 2 feet, but yet the top of the cabinet is still at 7 feet, and basically in here elevation, it should be 5, and that to allow for either a microwave, which would be probably easier here, or smaller than this, it needs more space, or just a hood. So this one here, I can also change it, and actually that would probably be like 18 inches. So we're going to reduce it another 6 inches. And in here, I'm going to make this 5.5. So that's pretty much what it should look like. This guy here, it also should be the elevation. It should be the 4.5. and it should be in here. The height should be 2 foot 6 inches, which is 30 inches. That's kind of like the standard. You don't really have to do that, but it would be nice to see it correctly in 3D, model it. Again, we're gonna, enjoy the modeling. Like I said, this guy here, I can simply just take it out, and this guy here, I can simply take it out, and then I will insert my range in here, my refrigerator here. The same thing for the refrigerator. Let's talk about the refrigerator. See here on your designation, it says actually it is 24 inches high, but also I think it is not, as high as that. I will actually make it the same as the other one. So I will make this 5.5, and I will make the cabinet itself to be 1.5 feet, 18 inches. And basically, that's what it should look like. See here? So you have that space. Even this one, probably even more. That's probably more like a 6 foot. Again, usually, if you look above, if you have a cabinets where you live, and you look at the cabinet, if they have one above the refrigerator, usually it's very, very thin, and because usually the refrigerators come in higher than that part in here. So that's pretty much actually what it is. So two things left in here, or a few things left. First of all, annotation. Remember we talked about annotation, and we can say tag all, and we can do here cabinets or casework, okay, and say okay, and that gives us immediately the tags. Now these tags are question mark. Why? Again, this is not the standard that comes with the with like REVIT. However, we actually have in here, so I'm going to do this guy in here, and I'm going to see if I can rotate it just 45 degrees. And well, apparently it didn't rotate, but that's okay. But let's talk about the tag. What is the question mark? Well, let's actually look at this one here. Since this one came in correctly, when you look at this, edit the type, under the model, I chose the model, okay? When I modified that tag for the cabinets, I chose the model. So whatever you put in the model, it's going to display it in the tag. So there was no models in here. So what do you need to do? Well, you take each cabinet, and in here, this one, the model is B21. So I'm going to click on this guy here, and I am going to edit it. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I actually trying to modify the actual family here, but no, I would just want to modify the item here. And you see here the model, it doesn't say anything. So I'm going to say it is a B21. And you might be lucky that there were some saved from before. And before I go to OK, I'm going to apply. And boom, here it is. So you see now the tags. This one here, it needs to be the B36D. So in here, I'm going to edit the type. And in the model, there's nothing in the model. So in here, and let me see actually if there's something saved. So there is a B36. It needs to be sync because it is a cabinet, actually a D. Sorry, it's a D. That's okay. Whether it's correct or not, but let's match the blueprints. So now it's D. And remember, by the way, that this is a tag. This is basically something that you can move or remove out of the way. And yes, you can probably change the font size, but I wouldn't recommend that because it will be too small to be able to read. But that's pretty much how we're going to do that for each of these cabinets. Remember, in any cabinet, to display it using the tags, which is what you are required to do, is you need to actually enter that under the model of that cabinet here. Most of them will come in blank. If you're using maybe one of the manufacturers, they might be having some model numbers, but again, that's just to designate the size, for carpenters and for kitchen designers. Okay, so that's these cabinets. Here we go. Now let's talk about countertops. Countertops are a little bit tricky. There are modeled, so they will be under the component, and you probably have maybe used some. But the problem is with the countertops is they don't really have something that we can extend freely and all that, or like this one is for, a counter island and whatnot, and so forth. This is an L shape with a sinkhole, maybe whatnot, but I'll tell you actually what a trick I found is that, let's say that I would like it, think about it actually that way. Think about it as a marble or a granite countertop. So it's more like a slab. So say, hey, hey, it's a slab, it's a slab. So I actually, under the floors, I created, and if not, we can create it quickly. I created so we can use the floor tool. I like the floor tool. I like the roof tool that you can actually sketch whatever you want, So in here, if you go to architecture, go to the floor, and I'll say architectural floor, and I don't know if you have that one, but you should have one that says countertop 1.5 inch, or countertop. This is probably from the, the original, template that I loaded in Blackboard. These are the ones I was just basically trying to figure out things and, modify things, but you can sketch out whatever you want. So in here, I can actually simply start from here and just go around in here and all the way to this here where we have actually our refrigerator, and then come back in here. Now here, don't, it's not a big deal, but hey, if you actually don't change it, apparently the last time I worked in here, I was working on the truss level. Make sure that you want it to be from the first floor level. And yes, it is offset. And how much is it offset? It is actually 3 feet. The offset is 3 feet. That's the top of the counter. And let's say okay and look at it and see what it looks like in my 3D. And here it is. So in my 3D, here it is. Exactly all the way. I can modify it. I can change the colors of it. For example, I created another one in here. You can do the same if you like. Change the color or change the material to display different colors. So this is actually more like a mosaic tile, and of course it's right in here. So I'm just going to go back to whatever we did originally in here, and that's fine. And I'm going to go back and make it more realistic. How more realistic? Actually, that I'm going to modify the boundaries, and you really need to make it an inch overhang. So this will be 2'1". And the same thing from here is you wanted to move it. So I'm going to make this 7. And in here, so there is an actual reveal. The same thing for here. I'm going to make this to be, as you can see it, so there is actually a bull nose on top, and have it that way. Now you might want to maybe show the texture. That's fine. Or you want to show the textures, but remember that if you move these, and actually I would prefer it to be transparent, because now I don't really see the cabinet boxes. So in here, and of course I made a mistake in here. Oops, where would the range would go? No big deal. I'm going to actually now modify it, and I'm going to cut it. So in here, I am going to delete this guy, and I am going to come back in here, and I am going to close it in here, and in this guy, and I am going to cut hopefully that would work. There we go. So back to the 3D. Here's what explaining. I got a little bit carried away here that I did it like the dishwasher. There's a counter above the dishwasher, but there is no counter where the range is. Your oven and your range. So that's kind of like the countertop. Now, you can finish up all that stuff in here, but I was saying that you need to have these boxes showing. And the easiest way, actually, if you go to the override graphics in view, click on your countertops and say the override by element and the surface transparency, make it 100%. And you don't want it to be the surface pattern. You don't want that to be visible, and apply. And boom, here it is. So you still have a counter. You still actually have it. And when you click on it, you can see it, and you can see the edge of it. But nonetheless, you can actually see underneath it. Now, also I am going to the proper way to show. Oops, I clicked on the wrong part in here. Sorry. I said, to hide in view. No, I want to override the graphics in the view, and I want the projection lines. I want it actually to be dashed line, like a very small dashed line. So here it is. The countertops actually are dashed lines. That's the standard in kitchen design and whatnot. Now in here, that one, I will also do the same thing. I would override by category, and I want the cabinet to be the projection lines. I want it to be solid lines. Well, that did not work. So we might actually have to go back to our our manage and object style, and change the way they are set up to be the casework in here. The cabinets, it says here that the solid, and this is the projection, and the cut is number 3. The countertop is solid, and the hidden lines, let's change this one here to make it solid. It still did not work. I'm probably not clicking on the right one in here. Material, countertop, hidden line, plan, below projections. Here we go. The dashed, plan, below projections. Let's make it solid. And the plan above projection, it says overhead. Let's make that solid. So that's the one. Again, I am just applying it as I see it. Apparently, it did not also work for some reason, and it should actually have worked. But let's see here. Plan below, dashed. I'm going to change them all to solid and apply, and this one worked. So it is actually the plan below. It was, basically dashed. I made it solid. So now my cabinet showing solid lines, and my countertop showing to be dashed, just like what you see it in the handout. I hope this has helped. If you need to put sinks, remember, when you put sinks, is you need to cut up an opening. Otherwise, that will actually show. So here, let me show you an example for this sink in here. Is that if I go, the sink is under the same thing, architectural component, and there will be a sink somewhere in here under the S, kitchen sink, double. Here it is. And the offset in here, so let me see, it should be actually like 3 feet. And it says it cannot see it, so let me double check in here. And oh wow, look at that. Okay, first floor, so let me make it 0. And I am not sure why it's actually up here. maybe the way the default is, and maybe not, but we can play with it for sure. And in here, that, and that's basically was I was trying to show you that when you do it without, this one here, it says -3.5, so I'm going to make it -3. I'm not sure why it is actually taking it from, apparently from the top, but nonetheless, here it is. And excuse my phone here ringing here. And this one here, we might have to change part of the width of it, so we're going to make it actually 30 inches wide. 30 inches wide. And of course, we can move it accordingly. But if you want to show it, if you want to see it, I mean, correctly in here, what you can do is very simple. We can actually put a by face, opening by face, and we can simply come in here. And here's where I want to cut. I want to cut that countertop. So somewhere inside in here. And now when I look at it into my 3D, you're not going to actually see, all that countertop materials as we saw it before. So here it is, nice and ready to start cooking. I hope this helped, and sorry for the confusion in some parts, trying to be fast, I guess, and whatnot.